Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the virtual colloquium organized by Institute of Teacher Education International Languages Campus, or better known as IPGKBA, with the theme Capacity Building, focusing on educational leadership and management. I am Normazni Abdul Karim from the Institute of Teacher Education International Languages Campus, and I am the moderator for today's session. Before we proceed, I will briefly present to you the format. The speaker will present her talk for about 40 minutes. This will be followed by a question and answer session from the audience. If you have a question for our speaker, please feel free to post it in the chat box. The speaker will be answering questions at the end of the session. If we don't get to your question during today's webinar, we will follow up afterwards. Now, allow me to introduce to you our presenter for today, Dr. Premalata Nair. Her presentation is entitled Emotional Intelligence in Leadership. Dr. Premalata Nair received her PhD in English Language from University Putra Malaysia. Prior to joining the Teacher Training Institution, IPGKBA, she worked as a teacher in both the primary and secondary schools in Malaysia. She has 12 years of experience in teaching English language and literature. She took on the new beat in 2002 to become a lecturer in the Teacher Training Institute in Kuala Lumpur, which is IPGKBA. As part of her role, she has contributed in writing modules and curriculum for the Ministry of Education in Malaysia. Her purpose and passion lies in helping teachers to nurture their creativity in teaching through desire and enthusiasm. She's also involved in MALTA, the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Premalata.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and I'm glad to see that some of you are here attending to this webinar, Series 12. Okay, so I actually will be talking about emotional intelligence and how it is linked to leadership. So first of all, let me just share the slides with you all. Okay. First of all, what I would like to talk about is starting off with what it means by emotional intelligence. Okay, so when we talk about leadership, most of the time we always focus on cognitive intelligence. So we need to have cognitive intelligence in order to pursue whichever career that we have selected. So the same goes for educators, teachers. Definitely, we are assessed based on our credential. Our certificate will be based on TESOL or science or maths. Okay. So now, what we are focusing of would be what is emotional intelligence? Okay, is it anything got to do with our job spec? Is it that important? All right. Now, what literature has said that emotional intelligence refers to the ability, okay, to acknowledge and value feelings. Okay, I have highlighted feelings here. All right. Because some of you may think, okay, what has feeling got to do with the job that I'm doing? All right. Feeling sometimes can be dangerous. All right. When we talk about feelings, sometimes when we are dealing with people, we are also required to look into the emotional aspect of that person. So feeling here is one of the important aspects when we talk about emotional intelligence. All right. And also the second part is the way we respond, how we talk to people, the way we need to respond appropriately. That is the key term here. We can talk to our friends in our normal daily everyday life, okay, but it will not be the same when we are in our job spec, okay, we are in a working environment. Sometimes people may get offended, so the way we choose our words correctly actually matters. Okay? So the third is the sense and understanding. Do we understand ourselves? Do we understand people at large? Okay, so that is actually something very important aspect in emotional intelligence. And the last one is how we manage ourselves, oneself, and one's interaction with others. The interesting aspect when you talk about emotional intelligence is that we need to look at ourselves first before we look at other people. Are we impacting our people, another or other people when we are interacting with them? Okay, so I have other people when we are that I would like to highlight. Okay, the first part would be on being open. Okay, so we need to be open, whether we are leaders or we are subordinates in our workplace. We have to be open in whatever we do. Okay, so that is, I think, one of the element where we are not hiding anything. Okay, when we talk to people, example, if you are a leader, okay, are you hiding certain aspect from your staff? Okay, or only certain people in your team knows about it and others do not. So the openness is something very crucial. So the second element here that we need to focus on would be honesty. Okay, so most of the time in our daily life, okay, when you are invited to your friend's house, for dinner, and then you have dinner, and then you find that the food lacks salt. Okay, do you be honest and tell your friend, okay, something, this particular dish, the curry lacks salt. Okay, do you actually be open and tell your friend, or you rather not say anything because you don't want to offend your friend? Okay, so honesty here in the workplace, okay, actually plays a very, very important role. You need to be truth to yourself and to others. Okay, so I have not come into the leadership yet, but in general, wherever we are, we're working, so we need to have this element of honesty, because with honesty comes trust and the belief and the truth. Okay, when you are honest and open, people will trust you. Okay, so they would believe in you. Otherwise, if they find that you're not honest or being open, then okay, they will say, all right, I don't think I would want to deal with the person, or I do not want to listen to the person. Okay, so that is part of honesty and integrity. Okay, integrity comes with a very strong moral and ethical value. Okay, so are you being ethical at the workplace? All right, are you being sincere with the people that you are working with? All right, if you find that one of your colleague is misusing certain things, all right, are not doing the right thing, so do you think it will be the right thing to tell, all right, your boss or the person in charge? So the integrity is actually plays a very important role that comes under emotional intelligence. Okay, so when we talk about courage, okay, courage here is quite challenging. It has to do with making right decisions. Okay, sometimes in your workforce, you actually would need to make certain decisions which may not be favorable. Okay, so if you are told that, okay, I need five people, okay, as a team to work on something, to work on a project, and you find that out of the five people, one is not really performing, then would you have the courage to inform that person number three, that okay, I'm sorry to say that you're not performing, therefore I think I need to replace you with someone else? Or would you sort of advise that person to do something right? Or if that person could not perform, then you have to make decision. So sometimes as a leader, it is quite challenging. All right, you need to have the courage to make that decision whether you can actually do something the right way, and sometimes your decision can hurt another person's feeling. Okay, that's why we're talking about emotional intelligence. All right, so creativity also plays a very important role. Okay, when we talk about ideas, uh, as a leader you need to have ideas in order to actually uh, lead the group, the team that you are heading into achieving its goal. So in order to achieve the goal, creativity actually plays an important role. What will be the challenges that you're facing, and how are you able to come up with new ideas and innovation in order to achieve that goal or move toward that goal, right? And finally, commitment. Okay, so normally commitment comes with promises. We make a lot of promises in our daily lives. Okay, even in marriage we make promises. Okay, so when as a leader or wherever you are working as, even as a teacher, we actually vow that we would do our level best in order to educate the future generation. So this is a commitment that we have. So are we fulfilling that commitment? Are we abiding to whatever the rules and regulations that we have set? Okay, so that's what we talk about commitment. So having said all these things, now the question that comes into our mind is that, is emotional intelligence an important element in leadership? That is the question. All right. So some of you may say A. All right. Yes, I agree that emotional intelligence is a very important element in leadership. Okay. Or you may say C. I don't think emotional intelligence is that important, because what is important is cognitive intelligence. Okay. How can you do things when you do not have the knowledge, when you do not have the skill? Or some of you might be in the B category. Well, I am not sure. Um, it looks important, but not that important as IQ. I'm torn, like I'm in between, right? If you can use the chat group and just uh, key in either A, B, or C, I may just have a look later on to see how many of you have selected either A, B, or C. Yeah, something to ponder, to think about. But if you know the answer, just post it in the chat group. Yeah, I'm also looking at the chat at the same time, okay, to look at your responses. Okay, now when we talk about emotional intelligence, EQ, what happens is that when the EQ of a person lowers down, when the emotional and series of stress and depression. Okay, so when you lack emotional intelligence, then you are actually sometimes lead to a burnout session, and then you lead into a moment of stress, okay, not knowing what to do, okay, that can happen, okay, and at the time, sometime when emotion takes over, and then you feel very angry at yourself, okay, and at that moment of angerness, you make certain decision. So the brain function in a way that when you are in a particular position where you're really stressed out, the brain becomes like an autopilot. Automatically, the decision that you make would be something that is not favorable. Okay, so this is what is indicated in the picture that I've shown you. Okay, so the danger of that is that uh, you may end up making decision that may not be favorable, or is actually a wrong decision, especially when it comes to workplace, and if you are heading a certain project or anything, something like that. Okay, so now various studies have also indicated that a single participant in a team, okay, who is actually low in EQ, okay, can lower the collective IQ of the entire group. Okay. So this is what studies have mentioned. So it is actually rather something new to look at, because you say, how can a person with a low EQ actually can bring down the entire team, okay, who are actually uh, maybe hardworking, but then perhaps in the end, whatever that they aim for is not achievable. Okay, so this is what studies have said. All right, and then it also limits a person's ability to get results. Okay, so this is part of the studies that they have indicated. Now, again, the question, okay, which one is more important, EQ or IQ? All right, so that is a very interesting question to actually tap on. I think some of you may already have the answers. Okay, I actually posted this question to my group of student teachers, and out of the 40 students, everybody chose actually emotional intelligence. They say emotional intelligence is a very important element for a teacher. Okay, so it is actually quite surprising, because I thought they would choose IQ. Okay, so perhaps let's see why EQ is actually considered important. Okay, so studies have also indicated that emotional intelligence is a key to leadership. Okay, a high IQ will get you through school. A high EQ will get you through life. This is what stated by Mishra, 2017. She actually has a very interesting book on emotional intelligence. Okay, so this statement actually came from that book. It says that you of course, when you have high cognitive intelligence, it will get you through school. Okay, you would be doing well, knowledgeable, and skillful enough in achieving whatever that you have learned. But then it is the emotional intelligence that actually would lead you to survive in the real working life. Okay, so this is what it says. And research has also found that individuals with strong leadership potential also tend to be more emotionally intelligent, suggesting that a high EQ is an important quality, especially for business leaders and managers. I think this doesn't go into that field as well. It is also applied into the education field as well. Okay, especially educators and teachers. Okay, now this is from Travis Bradbury. Okay. In this study, it is stated that it was actually a statistic carried out, and it says that 90% of top performers in general have very high emotional intelligence. All right, and then out of that, 58% of the top performance is actually looking into emotional intelligence. All right, and also people with high emotional intelligence make more money compared to a low emotional intelligent counterpart. So it's actually a very indicator here into a good leader. Okay. Now, when I keep talking about good leader, to me, I find that all of us, at with regards with whatever position that we are holding, even as a teacher, we are leaders. Teachers are leaders because when you enter a classroom, all right, you are looked upon by your students. You actually play a part you actually play a part in the classroom. Okay. So as a leader, okay, you need to have these two important elements. The first one is awareness of our own emotion. Okay. So here we are looking at intrapersonal, that is managing our own emotion, identify our own negative emotion, and to cultivate self-awareness. How many of us actually know the weaknesses in ourselves? Okay. So you can actually say yes or no. Okay, if you're aware, all right. Do you actually know that uh, this is the element, this is the weaknesses that I have in me? Okay. Sometimes, okay, I find that I get very angry at people when people say something or just certain things that I do not like. All right. So angerness could be something that I cannot control in myself, but it which something that I need to manage. Okay, so that is something that I need to know. Or do I get very emotional and I would like shed tears when someone says something? All right, I will start crying for small little things. All right, so that's something that I need to be aware of and control and manage my own emotion. Okay, but the saddest part is that most of us are not aware our own emotion. So that is something that is hidden, that you may go through it, you may express that form of emotion. Other people can see it, but we ourselves do not see it unless your friend tells you, I think you need to control your angerness, because I can see that quite often when we are doing something else, we also need to be aware of the emotion of others. Okay? This is something that can be seen. All right. This is something that can be seen. All right. And here we look at interpersonal behavior. Now, it refers to managing other people's emotion. All right. And the key word here would be empathy. So to build a strong relationship between friends, okay, or your colleague, you need to have this element of empathy. How many times, when we actually lead a meeting, all right, or a project, that we keep on talking what we want you to do, all right, to the team member, but not looking into the aspect whether your team member is ready, able to carry out the task, or is there any other elements that actually interfere with the job that they are supposed to do for you. Okay. I think quite often we are not aware of this. We don't actually look into that aspect. What is important? I'm assigned to do this. I'm heading this committee. Therefore, I instruct 10 people under me. Okay, I want you to do this. By the end of the week, I want results. Okay. I don't care how you do it, but I want results at the end of. the day, for example. Okay, so this is something that I find that is a bit lacking. All right, in terms of leadership, when we are leading something, we need to actually focus on the emotion of others. Actually, yeah. Okay. Now, to be an effective leader, actually, these are the three. There are more, but I have taken three. We actually need to have the ability to inspire, okay, our team members. Okay, so we talk about inspiring. Okay, a leader should inspire, okay, instead of instructing people to do. You are telling people to do, but then to inspire people is actually focusing on our own action and words. Okay? You inspire your team members by you yourself also, okay, putting your foot down, being with your team members, and also helping each other out, okay, in whatever aspect that you want them to do. Okay, so through your actions and through the words that you do, okay, that would actually help your team members move towards the same goal in whatever aspect that you. At the same time, okay, you also look into communication to communicate well and effectively. All right. So, example, we can say that if you are in a team and then you suddenly realize that okay, someone did something wrong, and then straight away you go to your friend and say, okay, what you did is wrong. I am actually very upset, okay, with what you have done. Okay, so that is like direct communicating with your team member and saying something that doesn't sound positive, but it looks negative. So what will happen is that the team member would actually feel maybe offended. Okay, instead perhaps you can say, okay, I like the idea that, all right, I've done. Perhaps, maybe you may want to do it this way. Okay, so this is way how you communicate with people. But quite often we always use the language that could be sometimes a bit harsh to people. All right, sometimes the PR actually, to me, I find that it's actually very very important. How you talk to your peers, that actually makes a difference on how to get the job done or not. Sometimes when you have this negative aspect between a leader and the team, then you may have problems. Yeah, so that's why it says that communication is actually a very important element under emotional intelligence. And then, of course, you need to build a strong relationship. Okay? Here, when we talk about relationship, will be the working relationship. Okay? How is the relationship between you and your colleagues? How is the relationship between you and other team members? Is it something positive or is it something negative? Okay. There is a saying that says that a job title does not make a leader. All right. The title that you have does not really make you a leader unless you have all these elements within yourself. Okay. So it's not necessary that because you're heading a team, all right, therefore people need to see you. Okay, you are the boss and they are the subordinate. That means they have to listen to what you have to say. Of course, definitely as a leader, you have your say, but at the same time, you need to build that positive relationship with your team members. Okay, get to know them. Okay, I think how many of us as teachers, I think when we handle a classroom of 40, perhaps 50 students, we have a maximum of 50 students in a class. How many of us actually know the name of each of our students? Right? So start of building the relationship would be to know your team members. Do you know their names? Do you know their background? Do you know where they come from? Okay, that's how the relationship is built. Okay, what are the challenges that we are facing? So that also comes into it. Okay, all right. Next, okay. This is a study from Bradbury from Talent Smart 2009. They mentioned that they actually carried out a study on 2 million workers. All right, so they found that just 36% of people are able to accurately identify their own emotion as they happen. All right, emotion is not something that is pre-planned. It's not like I want to get angry today or I want to get angry tomorrow. So when certain things, certain events happen, then the emotion takes control. All right. So as it happens, our mind at the same time does not compute. Okay, it actually does not tell. Oh, okay, I am feeling angry right now. Okay, you may feel the angerness, but your action, your words actually just comes out automatically. It's just like the autopilot. It just comes out without you realizing it at that moment. But once you are out of that situation, okay, when you come out of it, if you reflect, then you realize, oh dear, I should not have said that. Okay, so that perhaps can happen. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the challenges. Okay. In reality, you could actually have two separate challenges. Okay. Sometimes you find that people can be very difficult to work with. Okay, and and as you can see in the picture, there's a chaos there. All right, as a leader, you see that. Okay, I find it very difficult to control my team members. Okay, and they don't seem to understand. Okay, what I'm trying to say. Okay? I want this to happen, but it's not happening. So there's chaotic because they don't see that they are part of a family, a part of this team. All right, and they should work towards that to achieve that goal. All right, but on the other hand, all right, if you have a leader with high emotional intelligence, okay, so that particular leader can actually guide the team members. Okay, as you can see in the second picture. Okay, that means the leader is holding hands of all the team members and guiding them towards achieving the goal. Okay. As opposed to the first picture, you can see that, all right, nobody's anywhere and they are all over the place. Okay, so that the first one shows a low emotional intelligence, whereas the second one is a very orderly manner of high intelligent leader. All right. Okay. Now, this is a four key element that actually I would like to highlight on that covers emotional intelligence. The first thing that normally we as leaders need to have is self-awareness. Okay, a self-awareness would refer to how we actually manage our own emotion. I touched a bit earlier on. All right. Okay, how we actually manage our own self. Okay, and how we are capable to introspect, okay, to actually identify our own personality defect. Okay. What it means is that what is our defect, okay, what is it that is lacking in us, actually we need to be aware of, because only then you can actually work on that weakness and then actually work on other people's emotion. Because every day in and out, people actually look at you, okay, and they see you and they can understand through your actions and through your words. Okay, sometimes, like I mentioned just now, we are not aware of what we are saying or what we are doing. Okay, we think that what we are doing is the right thing, but actually other people could perceive it as something negative. Okay, so it is good from time to time if your friends actually tells you, okay, I think just now, you were talking about certain things, but I thought that was very good. But perhaps, you need to control, control certain elements that I think is a bit negative. Like how many hours actually when we go to our workplace, we love to listen to music, for example. Okay, I love listening to music, and I would actually put on the music, blasting it out, okay, in the staff room, for example. But then for others, it is quite annoying. But to you, it's like, wow, I think everybody's enjoying listening to the song. But maybe to others, oh no, they may prefer to have a very quiet space to work. Okay, so that awareness needs to be, I think, instilled in us. We need to actually identify that awareness. Normally, is how other people actually perceive you. All right, and then actually how it what you do would impact others. Actually, there are two things here: how people perceive you and how what the action that you do impact others. Okay. Of course, the second one comes to social awareness. That would be the ability to take other people's perspective. All right. And like, for example, as a leader, do you think that you are a leader? Okay. Therefore, what you say should go. Okay. Whatever you say, that should be like the mantra that means others have to follow. Because you're a leader, that means you know what you're doing is the right thing to do. Okay. So do we actually open up, have time to actually listen to other people's point of view? Okay. So do you have that element? Okay. So or do you actually you are able to take other people's perspective? I think that is actually quite crucial as a leader to listen to other people as well, because at times, sometimes, they may have a better idea in order to solve certain problems. Okay? So I think that would be fine. I think it is okay to listen to other people's view, because sometimes their views might be something innovative, something creative, which we have never thought about. So I think it is very important for a leader to actually listen, as well as uh, okay, trying to achieve the goal that you have set in. Okay, trying to actually organize and plan yourself, and at the same time trying to listen from other people's perspective. Yeah. And the next one, we actually have this management. All right. So you always have to ability to prioritize, okay, and decide what must be done. So in terms of timing, okay, and you also have to be accountable to actually complete certain tasks at the certain time, okay, and the necessary action that needs to be taken. Okay, example, like managing time, I mentioned just now. Okay, if you're having a meeting at 8:30 in the morning, obviously you yourself have to be there much earlier. All right, not asking everybody to be there at 8:30 and then you come in at 9. All right, so that needs to be something that you actually need to consider. All right, under the aspect of self-management. Okay? And then problem solving. Okay? How do you actually go about trying to solve certain problems? Okay? Because you see that this is a problem, therefore then you need to actually figure out best way to actually solve the problem, so that you and your team members can go ahead, all right, to achieve the goal. And of course, the fourth part is actually the relationship management. Okay. Here we actually to focus on uh, the ability to get the best out of everybody. Okay. So in order to do that, the relationship between you and the team members is actually very crucial. Okay, all right. That through a very good relationship with your team members, only then you actually have a way to influence your team members in order to do what they are supposed to do. If you have a bad relationship, then things may not get done. That is one of the important, okay, how to say that the side effect if you do not have a good relationship with your colleagues or with your team members. I think all of us have gone through all these four elements in our daily working life, actually. All right. Uh, and then, so when we talk about leaders and leadership, normally the role of a leader actually is to influence followers to achieve certain common goals, right? And they also plays a very important role to motivate them to commitment, all right, to dedication of the organizational goal. Okay? And also, sometimes they say that leadership is actually prescribed predictable processes. It is sometimes you actually would know that this is the role of a leadership and that's how we are supposed to behave, all right? And we also know so far that leadership is about relationship, to build a very good relationship so that whatever that you are intended to do, it gets done. So far we actually look into all these things. Now come back to the question now, okay? Which one do you consider to be important? Is it IQ or EQ? Okay, so I'm like trying to look at some of the chats now. Okay, okay, I can't see much at the moment. Okay. Now it comes into our mind, which one is important, IQ or EQ? All right, still a big question mark, isn't it? All right, so let's look at IQ. When we talk about IQ, actually, the comparison that I'm trying to make here is that when we talk about cognitive intelligence, okay, we always focus on the thinking part, the thinking process. Okay, obviously, what as a teacher and educator, the thinking process is actually a very important element. Okay, you need to think in order to do something. Whenever before you enter a class, you always be thinking, what am I going to teach? How am I going to teach? What are the strategies and techniques that I'm going to use in order to teach? Okay, and also most of the time it always focuses on facts. Okay, and actually it also leads to success and happiness. Why are we doing all this process is actually to make whatever goal that we set achievable and to be successful. All right, and it always leads to the brain, okay, the function of the brain. But when we look at emotional intelligence, okay, our focus always look at emotion. All right, we always like to reason out through our emotion. Why am I doing this? Am I doing the right thing? Okay, so you started to think. Okay, when your boss asks you to do certain things, then you say, okay, why am I the only one who's asked to do this? Why can't others do it? Okay, and I think I find it too difficult to do this because I got too much things to do. Right, so you're reasoning. You're using your emotion, but eventually both IQ and EQ are leading to success and happiness. But here, the heart controls. Okay, when we talk about emotional intelligence. Okay, all right. Now, certain people have said that uh, if you want to know how much of IQ as opposed to EQ, they use the iceberg theory. So they say what you can see is IQ, but what is hidden is EQ. Do you agree with this statement? Okay. Uh, IQ can be seen. All right. So it is tangible. Okay. You can show your certificate and say, well, okay, this is my qualification. So I am qualified to teach English, for example, or to teach maths, for example. When people ask you, how high is your emotional intelligence? So are we able to answer that question? Okay. To me, I find that it is very difficult. Okay, because it's tangible. It is hidden. You will not know the person until you get to know the person very well, or until you're working with that person. Only then you are able to see the EQ part of that person. So that's why it's a bit tricky in this aspect. Okay. Now I have these two pictures here, two different scenarios. The first one, you can see the leader, okay, with the hailer, okay, and you have three people down there, okay, very afraid of the leader, okay. So here you can predict, say that this leader, all right, is in control and instructing, all right, the colleague to actually do whatever that needs to be done, all right. And on this other hand, the second picture, you can see that all the team members, okay, are holding the leader and they are moving towards a specific goal. Okay, the question is, which one would you prefer? Which one do you think works well? Is it the first one or the second one? Okay, very interesting thing. And I think most of you would choose the second picture. Okay, uh, you would say that what works well would be the second one where everybody works together. Okay, and the leader seems to be not shouting at the team members. Okay, they are at one. Okay, with the team members, and they are working together towards achieving their goal. Whereas compared to the first picture, you can see that all right, the leader is instructing, and out of fear they may do. Okay, how many times we actually do things out of fear because we are afraid, all right, of certain people. We feel that I have to do this because I'm afraid if I don't do it then I will be reprimanded. Okay, so it might happen, okay, to some of us. Okay, now what studies have said is that authoritative style of leadership has the most effective way in achieving the goals and strategy. So that quite interesting, okay, as opposed to any other leadership. So perhaps you can look at this, that authoritative style refers to, that that person is the leader, you are the boss, all right, therefore the respect is there towards that boss. I would not say that you must be fearful of the boss, but then there's a certain minimum level of fear, so that you know that you need to do your job, you need to achieve the goal that is set out for you. Okay? Otherwise, when you are actually not focusing so much on what you're supposed to do, then I think you will not be able to achieve what you're set to do. All right. So this is what studies have indicated. Now, there are people who say that you can actually increase your emotional intelligence. All right. And some of the factors here is, it says that as a leader, you need to be assertive. Okay, you must have a assertive style of communication. Okay, so here it actually refers to the ability to stand up. Okay, to stand up for the rights of yourself and also to stand up for the right of the team. Okay, so that means communicating well, communicating your ideas well, and to let people know, okay, what you are set to do. All right. And the second one here, respond instead of react. Okay. It is good to respond as a leader. We respond to our colleagues, right? But not react towards what they have said or towards their action. Because immediate reaction is very, very common. Okay? We always react to something very quickly because the action moves very fast. Okay? And the words are uttered very fast before we think, okay, what we're saying is right or wrong. Okay? So we need to actually calm down, all right, and then respond appropriately and then think of okay, what action that needs to be taken later on. Okay. Active listening skill is actually very important. How many of us actually listen? Do we actually listen to our friends, to our colleagues? Okay. Do we actually okay have spent some time, okay, listening to what our friends have to say? Perhaps maybe what they are saying is very important. It may have certain meaning to what we are doing. All right. So active listening is actually very, very important in order to actually increase our emotional intelligence. And we always must be motivated in doing whatever that we do. Okay. With that comes our positive attitude. How many times we always do things thinking something negative? Okay. We always, like, if we are asked to or assign a certain task, we always say, oh God, not again. Why am I asked to do this again? Okay. I hate doing this all the time. It's always me. All right. Why not someone else? Okay. So always take things as it comes and do it in a positive manner. Have this positive mindset. I am grateful that I'm given that task because I believe that my boss thinks that I am able to do it, okay, perhaps compared to others, or I'm capable of doing this better than the others. Have it in a positive way. So when you have positive attitude, then all the actions towards whatever that you do will be positive. And obviously, the goal, whatever that you want to achieve, will be positive as well. Okay. Practice self-awareness. Okay. This is very important. You need to have your self-awareness, as I mentioned earlier. All right. You need to know yourself. Okay. What are you capable of? Are you able to do what you're supposed to do? Okay. And are you doing the right thing, the right way? Okay. That is very, very important. Take critique well. Okay. This is something I think that many of us, including myself, we are having trouble with. Okay, how many times do you feel like, um, I don't know why he said that to me. Okay, how dare he? Sometimes you may think that way. I don't think he said the nicest thing about myself. I think I did my job well. How can he say that, there's something lacking in what I did? All right. So sometimes we find it very difficult to accept critique in a positive manner. Okay. We need to take some time off, to sit down and reflect. Okay, why that person said that with regards to the job that I did. Okay, did something go wrong? Did I do something wrong? Okay, but I think what we need to do is we do accept. Okay, take the critique in a positive manner. All right, if you find that yes, I am lacking in something, then improve. Try to improve ourselves. Okay, empathize. Okay. Quite a number of times, we find that. It's always myself. Okay. I always think of myself when I do certain things, but I fail to see the other person. Okay, when you instruct someone else to do something, I say, why? I don't know what you do. I want it by 5 o'clock today. Okay, but you are not aware that this person might not be feeling well. Okay, or he is burdened with too many things to do. All right, and then he may not be able to complete the task that you have assigned him to do. Okay, so that the empathy part is actually a very important element in EQ. So you need to have that empathetic manner towards your team members. Okay? And of course, you need to be approachable and sociable. Okay? If you are not an approachable leader, then people do not want to come to you. Okay, they wouldn't want to come and share their thoughts or ideas or share their issues with you. All right. So you need to be approachable and also sociable at the same time. All right. Now, self-awareness must be high, obviously, and personal mastery do not, which means that you don't have to be slaves to emotion. I think some people may ask this question: don't you think that if you are being too emotional, then you may not be a good leader? I think that is one question that I can foresee some of you will be thinking. All right. Uh, First, so that means what I'm trying to say here is that you don't have to be slave to emotion. Okay, sometimes you find that when a leader is too emotional, okay, then things breaks down. Everything has comes into leads into problems. But having the right amount of emotion, okay, here when I talk about emotion, I'm referring to your ability to understand your colleague, your ability to understand your friends and team members. Okay? Have that compassion whenever you are working together. At least you understand. Okay? In the workplace that I am in, okay, I'm actually truly blessed to have friends uh, in my department where when one person is not able to complete the task, the others would come in and help. Okay? They don't have to do it, okay? But they understand the restriction or the disability that I have at times. All right, sometimes you have too many things to do. You're not able to do certain things, but you have friends coming in and helping you and say, okay, I'm here. They tell me what you want me to do. Okay, I can help you out. So that is something that you know that actually truly that you can appreciate when you have a group of people like that. All right, and also sometimes you notice that some people actually they are good at certain tasks. Some of them are very good on doing certain things, but they're not good in doing at other things. So why not to tap into the mastery level of that aspect that the person has? All right. If you think that the person is good, very very good at designing certain things, then you assign that person with that task, not forcing them to do in doing something else that they are not capable of doing. All right. So and then the next one is leadership connection. All right. So I think I mentioned this earlier, perceived emotion of others. The connection must actually be there because when you have that connection, only then you are able to influence your colleagues in order to do what they are required to do. Okay, and this one I think in any workplace, the praising, providing praise and being recognized, I would say very would be a very, very important element. Okay? We all are humans. Okay? We are not machines. Okay? So humans do sometimes perform errors. They do sometimes excel in doing certain things. But when you see that they are doing well in their job, it's not no harm in actually approaching that person and say, you did a very good job today. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to see that okay, whatever that we have assigned to do, we have actually achieved our target, okay, or our KPI. Thank you very much for your assistance that is rendered towards the team members. Okay, so why not give praises like this? Or sometimes if you're able to give recognition, okay, I don't think all of us are expecting something very high in terms of monetary, but at least someone tapping your back and say, well done, that was an excellent job. I'm so proud of you. I think that actually means a lot, okay, to someone, okay, like us, even to me, if someone says that, okay, I'll be okay, flying high. I say, wow, someone really appreciated what I have done. I think that is a good thing. So to praise someone for a good job done, I think that is actually very, very important. How many times do you say thank you to someone? It doesn't have to be at the workplace. Okay, I noticed that sometimes when you walk along the corridor, okay, there are certain people who say good morning to you because they are forced to, as if they are forced to, all right, not because they want to. Okay, so there's a great difference between have to and because they want to. They have to say good morning to you because they see you well. Oh, lecturer walking by, I have to say good morning, otherwise she will give me a stare, okay? Or because, wow, my lecturer is passing by, okay? I really appreciate what she has taught me in class, all right? I must greet her, okay? Say good morning, okay? So that's two different things, okay? Now, reward for an action, okay? Normally, all right, in an organization, we will be rewarded in certain form, okay? But it's not something that we look for, should look for, but otherwise, uh, just a simple thank you, like what I mentioned just now, would means a lot to that person. All right. So this is something that I feel that if you're a leader, as a leader, you need to have this. As I mentioned just now, teachers are also leaders. So what do we do in the classroom with our students? Okay. Do we say thank you to our students when they give the right answer? Okay. Or do we just say, okay, you, what is the answer? Sit down. Next, what is the answer? Sit down. Okay, all right, and then I have achieved my objective, learning objective for today. Do we say thank you to our students? Okay, that's something to think about. All right, learn through role model. We always have role models. Okay, in our daily life. So what the action that we perform normally would actually uh, showcase in through our uh, through our everyday action that we do. Okay, and people actually when they see, they sometimes take us as role model. So that would be something a leader should actually lead to be there. All right. Okay, I just moved here. Okay, people studies have also indicated that people with average IQ outperform those with the highest IQ 70% of the time, and 90% of top performers have very high emotional intelligence. All right, so if you have high IQ, the chances are that 90% of the time you have very high emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is intangible. That's the aspect that I mentioned just now. It is something very difficult to know how much you have. It's not something that you can easily measure, although if you can go online and they have certain tests that say that we can measure your emotional intelligence, but then again, I would say it's very, very subjective. Yeah. Okay. So here you will say that again, some of the aspect, if you have high, you will have high IQ. I have listed down, but I will just focus on a few here. Okay, that one of the aspect that you need to, if you have very high EQ, is that you are curious about people. You want to know about people, and then you actually empathize with people as a leader. All right, and you care about the people under you. Okay, and you are also someone who's able to be flexible and easily be adaptable to situation. And you also know your own strength and weaknesses, and also the strength and weaknesses of others. Okay? So, and if you have this quality, you are actually a good judge of character. Okay, so you are not easily be offended by people, and you also know when to say no to others if you are not able to do it, but not just saying accepting yes to everything, and then you end up being like so stressed out, not being able to do whatever you're supposed to do. And I like the last part where Clarice Bradbury mentioned that don't seek perfection. We are all human beings. We do make mistakes. So we cannot expect 100 perfection in whatever we do. So we need to save at least 1 or 2% of imperfection in whatever you do. All right. We know that we are actually trying to target this, but then we do know that sometimes, there might be some issues related to what we do. So how can one create a good working environment? Okay, so here would be to build positive staff culture, right? So think positive, all right, not to have something negative, and reflective practice. In whatever we do, we always try to reflect what we have done, what are the good things and the bad things that we have done, and then try to improve on the negative aspect. Okay? And also, we need to have the personal effectiveness. Know your strength. What is your strength? And then work on that. Clear and good communication. Able to listen. Always listen, lend your ears and listen to what others have to say about themselves, about you, and about work. All right. Recognizing hard work. This is very important. And the last element which I added on, try to have some fun. Working is not about doing work all the time, but always try to make that work a fun way of doing things. I think if we have that, I think definitely we could achieve what we are supposed to achieve. Right? To conclude, to come up with a question, I come back to the question that I asked: which is more important? Is it IQ or EQ? All right. I would say, this is my personal opinion, I have the coin there, which means I would associate uh, IQ and EQ as the two sides of the coin. All right. If you only have one side of the coin, then it has no value. All right. So you need to have both. Both are equally important in a leadership, and the degree, the level may differ. Okay. But also, I mentioned that studies have indicated that people with high EQ would normally also have high cognitive intelligence. Yeah, but sometimes not everybody may reach that level. Okay, but then uh, it all actually depends on how we actually carry ourselves as a leader. What are the qualities that we have actually that we portray to our team members that matters? Okay? So, okay, with that, I think I would stop here at the moment, and then I would take, if there are any questions from the audience, I will take now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Prema, for the insightful presentation, which focused on the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership, which is vital, and it corresponds to IQ and cognitive intelligence. Yeah. And I also like the part where you mentioned that we don't have to be slaves to emotions. Very interesting. All right. Dr. Prema, we have a few questions here. The first one is, hold on, yeah. The first one is, to what extent does the leader's emotional intelligence affect students' learning outcome and employees' performance or output and overall productivity? To what extent does the leader's emotional intelligence, affect students' learning outcome and employees' performance or
Okay, I'm
output
sorry, Dr.
and
Mazni, I could
overall
not hear
productivity?
you. Sorry.
Mhm. All right. I repeat, yeah. Can you hear me, Dr. Prema? Can you hear me, Dr. Prema? Hello. All right. Trying. Dr. Prema, can you hear me?
Sorry, I
Can you hear me now?
yes, 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 that's right. Okay.
Okay, Dr. Prema, I repeat, yeah? Okay, all right. To what extent does the
Yeah.
leader's emotional intelligence affect students' learning outcome and employees' performance or output and overall productivity?
Okay. I think I have covered that part earlier. Okay, then I'll just say okay, emotional intelligence is very, very crucial, very, very important. I think studies have indicated the higher you have the emotional intelligence, the better it would be actually when you are doing certain things. All right. Okay. Now, when we talk about emotional intelligence, we are not talking about being emotional in the sense of feeling it, like having showing anger, having fear and all that. Here would be trying to understand your colleague, your staff, your team members. Okay, having that understanding,
Mm-hmm.
knowing their strength and weaknesses, that is part of emotional intelligence. Okay, so I would say that the higher you have, the better the productivity would be when you're doing certain things.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. The second one, yeah? Would high emotional intelligence lead leaders to be too emotional and fail to make good decisions?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
These are
Yeah.
one of the
I
questions, yeah?
think this is in
Mentioned.
this is in everybody's mind. If it's too highly emotional, would that be would that person would be a very good leader? Okay. Now let's see what happened when you are emotional. Okay. When you are emotional, okay, what would happen is that you go through certain stage. Okay, you will say, oh God, things happen to me. All right, why it is happening like that? But what is important, I mentioned just now, is that when you are in that stage, you can't think, you can't rationalize. Okay, but later on when you reflect, you will notice that, all
Mm-mm.
right, this is what that has happened, therefore I need to do A or B or C in order to solve this problem. Okay, so that's the reason why they say that emotional intelligence plays a very crucial role, okay, in order to do certain things, because it actually, you are actually learning through whatever situation that you are in, through trial and error. So when you are going through that emotion, then you actually would reflect and then try to find the best way to overcome that problem. Okay, so when you don't go through it, then it is actually very difficult to identify, right? Isn't it? Okay? But then again,
Yeah.
having said that, sometimes when people are too emotional, sometimes it can also affect productivity. Okay, so there need to be a balance. There need to be a balance between both IQ and EQ.
Mm-mm. I guess the emotion should be positive in this way, yeah, in this sense. All right. Another one here from the audience. Would appreciate if you could provide some workplace vignettes on how perceptual position can be employed to challenge others who are acting unfairly and how to give constructive feedback. I repeat, yeah. Would appreciate, this person is saying, yeah, would
Sorry,
appreciate if you could provide some workplace vignettes on how perceptual position can be employed to challenge others who are acting unfairly and how to give constructive feedback.
sorry. Can you repeat the question, please? Could not hear. Yeah.
It is more on how perceptual position can be employed to challenge others who are acting unfairly and how to give constructive feedback in the situations like this.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
reading the question. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, can be employed to challenge others who are acting unfairly and give constructive feedback. Okay.
feedback.
Now,
Yeah.
uh, when you look at this, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Okay. How can be employed to challenge others who are acting unfairly? Okay. Now, we do come across this situation where actually we have others who are actually acting unfairly. That means they are not working in a fair manner in a workplace, and to give constructive feedback. Okay, I would say that when you have situation among the employees who are into this situation, there are many ways of doing it. One would be through training. Actually, they can actually go through certain training to actually guide them on how to actually be fair in that sense to do their work. All right, and providing feedback. There's one aspect that I think I did not mention, is that whenever you are a leader, providing feedback is actually a very, very important element. Okay, you need to actually give feedback to your colleagues, not at the end of the year, not after half a year, but it needs to be given at that point of time. Okay, if you notice that just now I mentioned that if that person has done a very good job, okay, the review, you would review your team members, and then that review needs to be given to that person within that a given period of time, not leave it till the end of the year, because feedback actually is a very, very crucial element for each one of us to know our strengths and weaknesses. Remember, I mentioned earlier that sometimes I may not know my own strength, I may not know my own weaknesses. But when someone give feedback to me about both my strength and weaknesses, that would actually help me to improve. Okay? Otherwise, obviously, things will not get done. I may be doing something that is not fair, something that is wrong, okay, and that would actually impact the whole society, the whole community in my workplace. Yeah, back to you, Mazni.
Okay, we are back to our session here, Dr. Prema. We had some kind of internet connection problem just now. All technical, yeah? All right, last one, Dr. Prema. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I understand that you are one of
Hello?
the committee. Can you hear me, Dr. Prema?
Yes, I can.
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
You
you.
can hear me, yeah? All right. I understand that
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
one of the committee members in Malta. So in terms of
Yes.
leadership, how do you portray that role, your role as a committee member?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mazni. Sorry, I think just now we got cut off. Uh, okay, I am one of the committee members for Malta, and I think Malta is an organization that is trying to reach out to all teachers in Malaysia and also beyond. All right. And there are many activities that we actually have carried out to help teachers in order to trying to improve, find strategies and techniques to help students, especially all walks of life. It doesn't matter it's in primary, secondary, okay, all education are involved. So we're actually trying to help them in many ways. So one of the activities that we are going to carry out is actually being run is on Musel project. Okay, the Musel research colloquium will be carried out in November. But I think tomorrow, incidentally, we have invited one speaker, Jonathan Newton, who will be talking about one of the topic under webinar. So I can share the screen and to share with you is being what is the webinar all about. Okay. Oh, can't see it. Okay, hold on here. Okay. Okay, if you can see the screen here, this is the one. I think Dr. Jonathan Newton is going to talk about harnessing technology to develop language learners' word consciousness. So this is part of Melta, what we're actually trying to do to reach out to all the teachers. And this would be the following link that you can actually go into if you are interested to join the webinar. It is actually free, no payment, all right, and you are actually given certificate at the end of the webinar. So if you're interested, you can actually log into this and try it out and see. Yeah.
All right, I'm sure that would be a good session, yeah? Okay, thank you once again, Dr. Prema, for enlightening us with the topic on emotional intelligence in leadership. I'm sure we are now clear that a leader should possess several characteristics of emotional intelligence, which include openness, honesty, integrity, courage, creativity, and commitment. And also, I have a little more here, as well as the elements needed in EQ that we need to be aware of. Yeah, and it's also important to note that it is possible for people to attain emotional intelligence through training. Yeah, as you mentioned just now. And finally, when it comes to which is more important, it is difficult to pinpoint whether EI is more important than CI, cognitive intelligence. But what is certain is that both quotients should be evident in leaders. Yeah. Hope that all of you have gained some insights on the topic and enjoyed the presentation by Dr. Premalata Nair. This brings us to the end of the session for today. Our next session will be on the 13th of October 2020 at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. By Assistant Professor Dr. George Iber from University of Evansville, USA. Do join us for this session. Yeah, thank you for being with us today. Have a blessed day ahead and take care.